I want to give all sorts of props to the people that you are about to see up here, because we put this thing together, 72 hours ago or so? I mean, this week, each night, we've been trading emails, and we put this whole thing together. Very, very good sports, the people that you're about to see up here. I'm pretty sure that most of you have at least heard, if you hadn't played when you were a kid, H.O.R.S.E, the game on the basketball court, where I try to make a shot. And if I make it, then you have to make it also. And if you don't, you get a letter. And the first person to spell horse loses. That's how you play horse. We are going to play the PowerPoint version of H.O.R.S.E, where it won't be the same shot that someone takes, but one person's going to take a shot in the form of offering a short tip to all of you, and then somebody's going to vie against that person, and we have a panel of judges who can take their place now if they'd like, who will determine the winner of each round. And we're going to spell horse one way or the other. Now, I was thinking about teams, and we have a group of superstars. And I'm thinking, okay, so who would be a good sport who will probably lose against these superstars? And we figured Mike Parkinson would be perfect for that. So this is going to be Mike Parkinson versus the field. And the field is Echo Swinford, Sandy Johnson, I got drafted in there, Lori Collar, and Nolan Haynes. So at least 4 superstars, and I got thrown into the mix too. And our first round will be Echo versus Mike. And Echo's going to share with you the history of lorem ipsum.
Okay, vote for me, vote for me. I know it's not like America's Got Talent, but, you know, we'll do the same. Oh, hey. Great. Now you're going to stand here and make faces, right? Uh-huh. I know better. I'm standing back farther. Okay. Can you see me now? Are we good? All right. So I've been an MVP since, I don't know, Moby Dick was a minnow. I mean, so Microsoft PowerPoint MVPs, we have a connection with the Microsoft product team. We get to go to an MVP summit every year, and we get to have monthly calls with Microsoft product team. So we give them a lot of feedback. Well, you know, sometimes that feedback is good, sometimes not. So they're kind of used to me bitching at them, to be honest. All right, so, you know, back in the day when PowerPoint 2007 came out, Julie Turberg and I were making lots and lots of templates. And when we would go to make sample slides, the only tool we had was to type in equals, rand, parens, and we would get quick red box text, which is fine, but can I show it now? Can I show that? Okay, so advance forward, here's my name. That's me. All right. So the only tool we had at the time, and we still have here, is rand equal rand parens. And you would get quick brown fox, whatever the color of the fox is. But the quick brown fox text would fill up your placeholder. So it gave you something you could see the formatting and all that. But look, it's all the same. So you can't tell neat line breaks and stuff like that. Just really, really pain in the butt. Well, Word had lorem ipsum text. It had rand text and lorem ipsum text. It had this long story about video or something for rand text. And then the lorem ipsum text was lorem ipsum text. Well, so I started badgering the Microsoft PowerPoint team, and I begged them and I bitched at them and I badgered them until they put it in. So finally, they put in lorem ipsum text. Now, with rand text, you can actually control it. Let me delete this. You can actually control the number of paragraphs and sentences. So like if you do equal rand, parens 3, 2, you'll get 3 paragraphs with 2 sentences each. There. Well, what they told me is, we're going to give you lorem ipsum text. They called me aside. They showed us during an MVP summit, and they wanted to make sure I was in the room because they had a new feature to show us. So it was lorem ipsum text. They said, we're not going to give you paragraphs, and you're going to take what you get, and you're going to like it. So that's what I got. And I love it. So equal lorem, parens, will give you 3 paragraphs of lorem ipsum text, 3 sentences each. That's my feature. So are you.
All right.
But not more awesome than me, because I'm going to win. Not more awesome than I.
So the next one I'm going to show you, and hopefully I stand a chance, is the volume okay? Everybody okay? Is a peekaboo effect. They really, really dig on safe surprises. People really love safe surprises. So one of the things that I play around with is coming up with this subtle reveal. You don't know it's coming. Uh-oh, am I in trouble? So this subtle reveal, so you don't know what's coming. It works with different videos, so I can populate it over here, and I can throw in a different video type, and all of a sudden you see this image or silhouette revealed, and it's kind of cool. You're like, oh, that's very cool. You could do it on a white background, doesn't matter. You could do it, with the videos. It's still the same thing, but it doesn't have the same peekaboo effect. How do you do it? Super duper easy. It's basically masking. So what I'm going to do is I am going to have my image. I have my video right here that I downloaded from Pexels. I think it was Pexels that I got this really cool free video. Wow. And then I'm going to have my image that is going to represent my background. I grabbed a graphic from Becteezy, and I'm going to go to my graphics format and choose Convert to Shape. Convert to Shape. So I convert it to shape. I'm going to ungroup it multiple times so that I can isolate this head right here. And I am going to bring the image forward, and then I'm going to scale. Let me just bring this forward so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to scale it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to click on the cookie dough first. Click on the cookie dough first. Cookie dough first. Shift click the cookie cutter, and I'm going to go to Shape Format, Merge Shapes, Subtract, and then you have your cool mask, but you place your video behind, and that's how you do it. Very cool, super simple effect. And now I believe, oh, and you can do cool stuff like this as well.
Mine was a lot for your clothes.
Yeah, mine is. Yeah. It's true. But mine's kind of cool, right?
But
So
you use mine and
Yeah, and we
It's
understand
true.
echoes.
there's echoes in there. Yes, exactly. So I.
he used it in his session.
It is true. It is true. But now I think it's in the hands of the judges.
That's round one, ladies and gentlemen, and now we will let the judges deliberate on round one.
We need pink music.
Yeah, we need some. Yeah, exactly. Good. Go for it.
Yeah. Mike was right. He said cookies. Mike's cookies is good.
I'm so nervous. Like, I'm so
I
nervous.
know, me too.
I know.
The stakes
All right.
are high
I like
here,
being
ladies and
confused.
gentlemen.
We've made a decision
It better be me.
for the following reasons. Echo did brag a lot. And because Mike said safety and cookies, we're going to give a point to Mike.
Oh, so Mike Parkinson wins
I know you
round
did.
one. So the field of superstars, we have an H. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know about this. I think we need instant replay, maybe. But, okay, but we can rally, team. We can rally. Here we go. So next up is Sandy with a cautionary tale.
Clicker's right there, too.
Does this look familiar? This is the now retired Land O'Lakes symbol. My story is this, true story, no fable. A client was doing a branding page. You've seen it. It's a page full of logos. She wanted to demonstrate a number of brands that just looking at the symbol, whether it had Land O'Lakes across it or was just this woman, you would recognize the brand. She sent it to me to format. What she didn't do was open the slide in slideshow view. What she didn't know is that this was an animated GIF. And I'm not going to show you the animated GIF. You may look it up if you'd like by searching for Land O'Lakes butter box trick. Okay? And this has gone on for well before we had animation. People used to do it with X-Acto knives. I'm going to explain it. So imagine, if you will, these are her knees. Up there is the butter box. Okay? So what folks did in this animated GIF is they cut off the top, not the top, the front of the butter box and made it flip open. Okay? They made it flip open. and they copied and pasted the knees and put them under the butter box. So flip, flip, flip. She did. What if she hadn't sent that to me first to review? She would have been up there in front of an audience of professionals, and she would have demonstrated how an animated GIF works. So, folks, I think the moral of this story is twofold. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Always review your presentation in slideshow view. I'm glad you said that first because I think the second is the most important. Don't use images from the internet. That's it. That's my tip.
You were awesome.
You knocked it out of the park.
Awesome. Okay. Oh, go Sandy. Okay. So to
You can cheer me on.
you should. To dovetail on what Sandy said, this, I think it works perfectly because I'm reinforcing it. It's that initial reaction. So scientists realized a little while ago that there's two parts of the human brain. There's the unconscious or emotional part, and there's the analytical or geeky part of the brain. And what they found out is most of our thinking is done emotionally, and then the rest is analytical, because the analytical part of the brain takes a lot more calories. It burns a lot more calories. So we have that kind of put to sleep until we need it. There's a gentleman by the name of John Haidt, H-A-I-D-T, and he wrote a book called The Happiness Hypothesis. And he said the unconscious or emotional part of the brain is kind of like an elephant. And the analytical part is kind of like a rider. So the secret that I learned many, many years ago, and it works for everything that we do in our industry, including that Land O'Lakes thing, is that we have to focus on the elephant first, because the elephant is almost always in control. The elephant regulates blood flow, all those things, emotional response. For example, Dwayne, what's your favorite color? Purple. Dwayne said purple. What's 362 times 487? It's much harder. So I asked the elephant what their favorite color is. They were like, bam! But I asked the rider, and it's like, too slow. So therefore, what I've learned is make sure it's always the elephant first, rider second. That is the secret. Elephant first, rider second. If there's something in your brain at home, and you have all the facts, so the analytical, the rider part's like, yeah, totally, but you don't trust them, who wins? You have all the facts, but don't trust them. Do you pick them? No, absolutely. You're going to go with your emotion. Elephant first, rider second. Taking a look at this. Which company's more innovative? What does your elephant tell you? A, elephant first, rider second. Go with that emotional response. When you're creating your messaging, I recommend having a motivator and a means. Why? Because the motivator speaks to the right, and the means speaks to the yes. Elephant first, rider second. That is it. I'm done.
Okay. I don't know. Pretty complicated, all this elephant stuff. I love. Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. The judges are conferring on round 2.
I know.
There's sweat going on up here. I'm telling you.
I'm
telling you. Yeah.
I'm totally shaking.
No, and in the audience, you can advocate. You can influence the judges. No bribing. That won't work. I've tried that. It won't work. But yeah. Okay.
Well done. Well played.
They're thinking. They're probably looking up elephant and stuff. Okay.
I know. Because it's hard. It's challenging.
After careful consideration, this was fairly close. The fact that Sandy had 2 morals to provide to the audience was very strong. But it confused us because we weren't sure what to remember.
What are you talking about?
We also...
Who picked these judges?
Excuse me, we are still rendering our verdict.
All right. Go ahead.
There are
Go ahead.
Lots of really good images on the internet that I use in all of my presentations. So I was a little taken aback by that statement that you made there. On the other hand, Mike, I mean, the fact that he talked about science and he repeated that main message so often. Elephant first, rider second. Involve the audience so well. Sandy did, but it just didn't quite click with us. So, once again, we like winners, and in this case, Mike
I know.
All right. All right, Sandy, well done. I loved it. I loved it. But we have H.O.
You'll notice we're taking copious notes over
Thank you. Notes. Yes. Speaking of which, I want to talk to you about notes. I do. Speaker notes, I think, have a bad rap. Now, you've seen many, many very accomplished presenters this week speak without notes, and that is certainly to their credit. But I would not want to give anybody the impression that it is bad to have speaker notes. The problem is that they are often done so poorly. For instance, so many of you saw this. This is the makeover I did yesterday, and this is a perfectly fine slide. But if you were to look at this slide in notes view, this is all the stuff that the speaker wanted to say. Now, how in the world could anybody be engaging with all of that? I mean, imagine if that was in front of you. See, and this is the problem. This is universal axiom. Let's see, which universal axiom is this? This is universal axiom number 2 in my book that says that when you are confronted with fully formed sentences, it is practically impossible to not just read them all. And that's the problem with speaker notes, is that people are often way too verbose. So they're looking at something, and it's all these formed sentences, and it is almost impossible to not just rivet your eyes to it. And of course, then we have a complete loss of engagement entirely. That is not the fault of speaker notes. That is the fault of the way we produce them. Now, maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't. I needed notes yesterday for my short story. I just kept getting lost in the middle of it, and so I just needed something to help me. And here's what my notes look like. I like to do them in the form of a clock, where I start at noon and I go all the way around. Now, I'd like to show this to the virtual audience, and guys, let me know when this is good. Is this in good view for them? So this is, it says at the top, 3 months, because that's how I wanted to start everything. I wanted to say that in 3 months, these 2 women, and then it says Paris, dudes. Remember the 2 dudes? So that's what it says right here is dudes. And high time, that's when I said that it's high time that mental health gets its due. Alex Hunnelt, that's just those 3 examples I gave. And then the woman with the microphone, a new cloud, and then dudes again. That's all I needed just to keep me on track. Anything more would have been too much. But so, and the clock thing, that just works for me. But however you do it, simple notes are a good thing. And no audience will look askance if you have, and what I recommend, this is large, I fold it. I fold it once and maybe even twice. And so it's a little thicker. And so it's inconspicuous, and if I just glance down, that is not going to hurt anybody. Notes are not a bad thing when done properly. Thank you.
Oh, great job. All right. That's a tough act to follow. Here we go. So this one is, we all know about the elephant and the rider. We know about the elephant and the rider. That's very important.
Summer rerun.
Sorry. So one of the other things I learned through doing this for so many years is connect the dots. Make sure we connect the dots quick and fast. The last thing I want to do is end a presentation with this, or even, I know it's really bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly connect the dots and say, all right, so I know why you're here. You're here to make sure that you save money, that you make your job easier, and you do your job faster. We have 8 ways to make that happen. Number 1, our solution is free to hotels. And you're a hotel, you're like, wow, that's really cool. So I'm talking to the elephant first, the rider second. Hey, here's 8 ways, that's the rider. And then I just connect the dots. And that's going to save you money. It's got a user-friendly, intuitive interface. Super cool. That's going to make things easier and faster. So what I'm doing is a very simple way to create an elephant first, rider second, connect the dots agenda slide. Then I use this to walk through my story. I say, hey, it's free to hotels. How do we make sure it's always free to hotels? 3 ways we make that happen. Number 1, it's got a grant. We have a grant, so we're not going to charge you any money. We have all the money coming in. Number 2, we have a work to learn curriculum, not to earn. Number 3 is loyalty programs. So those things help us make sure that we never have to charge you any money. I also talked about the fact that we have a user-friendly, intuitive interface. What do I mean? These things make it easier. Those things make it faster. The same is true for our mobile apps. If you look at our mobile apps, these things make it easier. Those things make it faster. So we're connecting the dots. This isn't the only way you can do it. You could also say, hey, we're going to make your warehouse more efficient. And we're doing it in 3 ways. Number 1 is we have a new system that allows us to accurately track. And there's 3 things that's happening when we do that. 3 amazing things. Point number 1, 2, and 3. And then we talk about, hey, by the way, we also have transparency via our tablet. And then last but not least, our 3rd thing is the fact that we have RFID technology to track all this awesome stuff. So increasing efficiency is done with these 3 methodologies. So that's connecting the dots. That's it.
I hope the judges understood that. I didn't.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. All right, the judges are deliberating. Yeah. Notes. Who'd you just flip off?
No.
The judges see that? Did the judges
Yay,
see that?
yay.
Did you see that? He just gave the finger to the audience. Did you see that?
No.
Automatic disqualification.
I didn't see it. Didn't
I
happen.
told them they were number 1. That's what I saw.
I saw nothing.
So,
That full sentence on the side. I mean, come on. All right. Yeah. Okay. We've come to a verdict. Okay. So, Mike, you did pretty good. Yeah. Rick, you did pretty good. We do like, Rick, how you showed visuals to our virtual audience and you gave them attention.
Tactile.
Very
Paper,
cool. Nice,
print,
nice work with the
yeah.
props. You
Analog.
didn't show it to us, though. So I'm a little disappointed there.
But the camera.
Now here's my beef, y'all. Rick presented on speaker notes, but he didn't show the 3-in-1 deck. So I'm a little offended by that.
But that's patented. That would be a violation of copyright.
This. So
I couldn't.
mean, there's
I'm
that
enjoined.
issue. You did have a full sentence on that slide, and you read it to us. So, I mean, Mike talked fast, but you know that engineering, or the auctioneer feel, and it's very energetic, and we totally have to buy into that. So, Mike gets a point.
All right, I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy.
Whoa! What's going on here?
All right, I'm a little concerned about this game right now. There is something very Mikey about this. I meant Mikey and not fishy. Trust me.
I have no issues with this.
All right, because Mike doesn't like to play any game that he's going to lose. So I'm going to give you a little short story. So Mike and I, we started dating in the early 90s. Dating myself, I was 17. Okay, there you go. So a little younger. I was an excellent bowler. I bowled on a league. I'm from Bowlemore, Deerhahn. That's what we do. And Mike worked at a bowling alley, and I thought, oh, this is cool. I'm dating a guy at a bowling alley. I can get free bowling. Well, until I beat him several times. And then he never wanted to go on a bowling date again. In fact, even now, all these years later, I have to beg him to bowl with me. So I'm a little suspect about this game. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm watching you, judges. I'm watching you. Just say. There you go.
Well, that was.
I think we need to hear Mike's response.
Mike,
No.
your response?
It's all true. It's all true. Not about them. I've never met them in my life. They're just good judges.
That's all you got?
Yes, sir.
Judges?
Was that a presentation? That wasn't a presentation.
This is very interesting. It's
Oh, no!
The contestant was not ready for that.
Yeah. I mean, he's on his toes. That is really great improv. It's honestly.
Okay, all right. The judges have come to a conclusion on this round.
This was a round?
So the first contestant, Jen, she came in with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy. Once again, it was a little bit braggy. I'm in a bowling league. I felt a little exclusionary in what she was talking about because she's like Baltimore yo and then hun. So there weren't that many people from elsewhere that were included in what she talked about. Whereas Mike's response was pure honesty. It was, he accepted his role in the whole thing. He didn't try to push back and fight. And for that, we just have to give it to Mike for his honesty.
This is so rigged.
And the fact that you are impugning the character of the jury here is just
all right.
beyond the pale.
All right. We got to really pull out some secret weapons here. Lori, come on up.
You look lovely today. Steffi, remember I did compliment you your shoes the other day? Amazing. Amazing. Okay. All right. I'm going to talk to you briefly about the selection pane. Now, I know we are all probably much more familiar with the selection pane these days because we use Morph, correct? I am going to suggest that you can use the selection pane for things more than just Morph. Say you have a slide with a bazillion logos, and you know you're going to be animating and using these logos for the entire week of presentations. So I would suggest you use that selection pane to label all your logos and go ahead and throw in your exclamation marks in front because you might be doing things like this and having to animate things separately later. So tell me, who can find the Matchbox logo? You see it? Okay, good. Where's the Enchantimals logo? Come on, we got to get it. Okay, you guys are pretty good. You're pretty good. Yeah, exactly. So I would suggest you take the time, like we did, and label your selection pane. Now, the reason you do this is when you need to find a logo, they're alphabetized because you've alphabetized it, but you've got an amazing dictionary. But when you go to animate things, all of your things are labeled. Those labels port over to the animation pane. So now when you're doing complex animations, it is so much easier to work with those logos. So I would submit to the judges that your selection pane is great for more, but don't forget, it's great for organization, and it's excellent for animation as well.
Great job. Great job.
Well played, Lori. Well played. Okay, so a tough act to follow. We know about the elephant and the rider. The elephant
more
really
elephant.
loves...
Give me a
come
break
on,
with
the
this
elephant
elephant.
deserves some love. And the elephant
Please
loves...
refrain from making comments during the other contestants' delivery. Thank you very much.
Ooh. Anyway, so the elephant loves safe surprises. It likes seeing things it doesn't typically see. So when we do something like this cool effect called Parallax, where we talk about idea 1 and 2, then we talk about idea 3 and 4, and then we lead to the main point, the elephant is going to pay more attention to it because the elephant's going to go, wow, that's cool. I haven't seen something quite like that before. How do you do Parallax in PowerPoint? It's super easy when you know how. So I'll show you step by step. So we'll end the show. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a picture. I think I used Pexels or Pixabay for this. So I brought in a picture, and you can see my slide. Think of the slide as a stage. I'm going to drop it in there. What I'm going to do is create some actors on my stage, and this is, consider this the set. So I'm going to create these actors. I'm going to duplicate that slide, duplicate it over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the stage just a little bit. Because the elephant, because it's always learning, it knows that things that are in the distance move at a different pace than things that are in the foreground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my actors a lot. I'm going to move my upper actors back on, from off stage to on stage. Now, when I go to transitions and I click on Morph, you get this really cool effect that you can go back and forth from. So if I were to give this in a presentation, I would say, hey, idea number 1, idea number 2, and now I'm going to 3 and 4, and you get that cool parallax effect. That's it.
Okay. That was actually pretty cool, I got to admit.
Okay.
Can you influence the judges?
You want what? I mean, try.
That comment was that Mike
All
would
right.
benefit more from Lori's tip than the vice versa. Good point.
That is an interesting statement. Lori, I appreciate your comments. I think that was just so sweet of you. But I also consider that a little bit pandering to the judges. I mean, what about John? Isn't he lovely too? Too late. Also, Mike did a step-by-step demo. He broke out and showed us how to do things. So we're just going to have to give the point to Mike again.
Oh, man. So the only thing standing in the way of a shutout is our cleanup hitter, Nolan Hames.
Are we up? Okay. Your honors, your excellencies, if it may please the court, I have been talking all week about lots of text, lots of stuff on your screen, and how not to have lots of stuff. And then when you have to have lots of stuff, what to do and make it not a slide presentation. But every once in a while, you have to have lots of stuff. Sometimes your clients say, put a document up, put a letter up, and put a memo up. I don't want to see it. Being an author sometimes requires, stick-to-itiveness. This is a rejection letter to Steinbeck on The Grapes of Wrath. So that was before it was actually printed. So let's say you wanted to put this up on a screen and you had to present it, but you don't want people reading, and there's lots of text, and this is actually not a ton there, but let's say it was a really, intense document. So here's what you would do. So let's say you had to put this up. Well, what would you do? You could take your image, and this is an image, right? So if you had real text or in Word, whatever, you make it into an image. Doesn't matter what kind of image it is. So you're going to duplicate your image first. And so I've got 2 copies of the same one over here. I'm going to align it over. I've got a duplicated image here. Now I'm going to go to picture format, and I'm going to crop. I'm going to crop right into, let's just say, a part of this memo. Let's say we'll put right there. All right, so now nothing looks much different, but now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this slide. On the next slide, on the second instance of it, I'm going to go ahead and do, let's see, we'll just double click. You can do that on the Mac. That's an advantage. You don't have to right click. Let me put a drop shadow on. Let's increase the blur. Let's reduce the transparency. Let's go to the back. Let's go to the back image and actually change that a little bit. Let's go to picture corrections and let's take the brightness down. Then we're going to go back to here. We're going to make this a little bit bigger. We're going to zoom it in. And then the last thing we got to do, and you're going to get a little preview of this. I hate that it does it, but you're going to get a little preview. You're going to click morph, and then, all right, we'll take that off. So now if we go into slideshow mode, all you got to do is you say, hey, there's a big text, there's a big memo, blah, 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 whatever. But I just want you to focus in on that part of it. And then you can always go back. You can duplicate it again, or you can just go in reverse and say, bring it right back into your memo. So there you go. That's how to show lots of text on the screen.
Okay.
All right.
That is a tough act to follow, and I saved my best for last. So hopefully the judges will see it my way. Okay, so this is a super duper helpful animation tip after going up against the great Nolan Hames. So this is it. It is to just randomly find animated GIFs that you find funny on the internet, and just get them from anywhere. If you find them funny, that's what matters. It doesn't matter whether your audience likes them, because if you're happy, then that enthusiasm is going to affect the other people. Don't worry about copyright law. Copyright law, schmopyright law. No one cares about that. As long as you find it amusing and you have a good time, that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter. Let's say you're doing learning and development. It doesn't matter. As long as you have fun, who cares if they learn? Sales, who cares if they buy? It's all about you. You're number one. Just like it's all about the judges. It's all about the judges. So put that dancing baloney up there. It doesn't matter. Show the things that you find amusing and hysterical. Share it with the world. Make other people have a blast, have a good time, and then the world will be a much, much, much better place. So that is my tip. Just randomly use animated GIFs for no reason at all, and good luck.
All right, that's got to be. I think this conference has reached a new low.
10 stars, and I can dispute that.
I got 19.
Oh, true. You got them all. All right. So this will be relatively quick because, I mean, Nolan's tip was just out of the world. When he came in there and just showing that thing pop up, but he was a little bit of a Mac snob with a couple of those comments there, and we really didn't like that. The fact that he struggled so mightily to do a simple trick.
It
like
wasn't
that.
his computer.
Excuses. On the other hand, the room. Did you hear the room? I can even hear some of the people online laughing at what Mike was doing. He brought joy to the conference. And when you bring joy to the world, you win the point. Mike wins.
God. I cannot believe it.
I won!
I cannot believe this. This was the stupidest thing ever. I am going to take my bat and ball. I'm going to go home. Why did you?
I bet you regret doing that.
I'm
now, don't
sorry, but we're going to have to cancel everything. This is awful. We lost all integrity here. Seminars in 5 minutes.
The last one wasn't real.